Hey guys, today we are going to review and rank 12 concealers, and these range from drugstore to luxury. So if you have dry under eye, aging eyes, or texture, then you are in the right place. Your time is valuable, and so I am going to get through these rankings and ratings as quickly as possible. I'm Kelly, and this is Kelly Media, where we talk about all things beauty, skincare, and lifestyle for those of us over 50. If you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up. I sure appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here. If you'll stick around until the end of the video, I'm going to share my #1 tip for getting your under eye looking flawless with your concealer. In no particular order, here we go. Let's start with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I, in particular, picked Hydrating because of my dry under eye. This product did not disappoint. This is very creamy, medium coverage concealer. Blends nicely. You can build up the coverage if you need to or want to. And as I show, it has a very large doe foot, which I don't quite understand, but e.l.f. seems to do in quite a few of their products. I did have to set this with powder, but that's not a deal breaker for me, and I'm going to rate it a 4, which is in the rotation. Next up, we have CoverGirl Extreme Wear Concealer. The applicator, it's just a squeeze tube, and you squeeze out a line, and you only need the tiniest bit, so please be careful if you're going to try this one. This is a big no for me, but I blame myself. It is not exactly the product, but this is a full coverage concealer, and with my dry under eye, that is just a no-go. I can't do multiple layers or any products that are very thick. So it's a no for me. I'm going to put it on the category of maybe not for everyone, and we're going to score that with a 3. Next, we've got one of our luxury concealers, and this is the Clé de Peau Concealer SPF 27. This is a stick concealer. And usually with dry under eye, you don't want to go with a stick because sticks by nature are a drier consistency. This is actually quite nice. I was surprised. Every time I use it though, it does get sort of a, I don't know what to call it except like a crust, I don't know, that I have to break through. But then once I get through that, it's really creamy. And I think I lucked out because when I purchased this in store, the person who helped me did such a great job on the color match. This one is definitely good. It's not amazing. I'm going to call it a 3. I do occasionally still use this one. Next up, we have the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape Concealer. This is a travel size that I got so that I could try it. And this is a small doe foot applicator. This name is a little bit of a misnomer for me because I don't feel like it's ultra creamy. The e.l.f. Hydrating is definitely creamier than this one and costs a lot less, of course. But this is okay. I can make this work, but I have to work a little too hard, and I don't have time for that. I don't want to take the time to force something to work when I have a lot of other options and there are other products that will work better. So I'm going to call this one not for everyone and give it a 3. This next one is the Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stylo. And this is a brush type applicator. It's a click up pen and the product comes out in the little brush. This is a sheer lightweight coverage. You can build it almost to medium, I would say, but it's meant to be lighter, and it's my holy grail. Like this one, and I hate that it's something that costs so much, but honestly, this has lasted me a really long time. I think I'm going on 5 months of using this, and it doesn't seem to be getting even close to the end. So there is some value in that because I've used it more than any other concealer since I bought it because I love it so much. It works for me, I think, the best because I do use it in conjunction with another Chantecaille product, which is their Rose de Mai eye gel. And I think those two just synergistically work so well together that I just get a really wonderful under eye look. I do set it with powder, but that's pretty normal for me, so that's never a deal breaker. So this one is my only 5 on this list. This is a holy grail product for me. The other concealer that I have to talk about today is the Colorscience Total Eye, and this has SPF 35. Now, let me show you the applicator on this. You may be familiar with this type of applicator. What's different about this is it's not a screw up or a click pen. You actually push down right here, which I'm going to do, and you see where the product comes out. I always put product on the back of my hand before I put it under my eye, and I do best with the light tapping under the eye to get the coverage. I do want to say something about SPF in under eye products. I really was all hot on this and wanted to try different ones, but realistically, I'm not sure how much coverage I'm getting because the amount that you use is so small compared to the size of the area, if that makes sense. So I figure it's helping a little, but I don't know that it is, 100% UVA, UVB coverage that you need when you're in the sun. That being said, if I know I'm going to be in the sun, I will lean towards something like this for that day, just to hopefully it helps a little bit. I've got a wow product for you. This is a drugstore brand, Milani, and this is fairly new. It is the Conceal and Perfect Under Eye Brightener. This one is a screw cap, and it's got a sponge tip, and you squeeze and the product comes out into the sponge so that then you can do this, or like I said, I always put on the back of my hand. What I love about this is it's self-setting. You don't need powder or anything else to make that work. What I don't understand with this product line is there are 3 colors only. There is 01, and I don't know the name of 01, but I know it is also a brightener, and it's a light pinkish color. The next color up is 02 Melon, which is what this is, and then the next color up, 03, and I apologize, I don't know the name, but it's a much deeper tone. But I don't quite understand what they were doing with only the 3 colors. This is just slightly too dark for me, but I still use it, and it looks pretty darn good. And like I said, the formula is really spectacular. This one has not quite made it to Holy Grail status. It's still a 4. It's still in the rotation. If they had a color between this and 01, if I could get a 1.5, then it might make it up to Holy Grail, but I really recommend this one. You may be familiar with the No. 7 brand that you can find at Walgreens and other drugstores, and this is their Hydraluminous concealer. So this is a pull-off cap. This is a twist on the bottom to get the product to start. You see it pop out there. This is extremely hydrating. This is also so hard to find. I could not find it in any drugstores, and I ended up ordering online, and you probably know how difficult it is to get a good shade match online. I ended up buying several of these and never really quite found my shade. But we're not really talking about shade today. That's not how I'm ranking or rating. It's more about how this goes on and how it feels with dry or aging or textured eyes. It is very creamy. It's medium buildable coverage, and it lays down quite nicely. It's in the rotation, coming in with a 4. This one is a bit of a surprise to me. This is a Neutrogena product. It's the Hydra Boost Hydrating Concealer, and it is a stick and a pull-off cap and then a twist up like a lipstick bullet. And it's got this little creamy center, but this is an amazingly creamy stick. It's definitely creamier to the touch than the Clé de Peau. This has light to medium buildable coverage. It's still going to come in a little drier than a cream type concealer. How could it not? It's a stick, right? But it is very, very creamy. I'm going to call this good, not amazing, and we'll give it a ranking of 3. You may be familiar with this Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. This is the concealer. They also have a foundation that looks like the mother of this one. It's obviously bigger and with a bigger sponge. So this one, you pull off the cap, you twist right here near the top to get the product to start into the sponge. Just as a side note, you can see, I think you can see how much I've used of that. All of these products are mine that I've been using. So If anything looks like it has fingerprints or, the sponge looks like it's well used, it's because it is. So this one went viral for a good reason. This is a really good all-around concealer that covers nicely. It is easy to work with the exception of one thing, and that is that it dries really quickly. So it does go on nicely, but you've got to work quickly before it dries down, and it dries down nicely. Just be aware of that. This is going to be in the rotation, coming in at a 4. I was influenced to buy this next one, and this is the Catrice True Skin Concealer, and it says high coverage. I would call this about a medium coverage. It is so creamy and so easy to work with. This is definitely in the rotation. It does have this different shaped applicator, which I don't quite know why. It's like a doe foot, but it's been flattened. Doesn't really matter. Again, I put everything on the back of my hand, so no problem there. But this is a really great product. Drugstore. I got it on Amazon. If you live in a bigger city, you may be able to find this in your drugstores. But I would give this a try. They have a nice color range. Once I did switch my under eye treatment that I do during the day to the Chantecaille Rose de Mai, I had a tiny bit of pilling with this, but it's not the fault of this product, and it was minimal, and I was able to make it work. So I still highly recommend this one. This last one is a new find for me. This is the Florence by Mills brand, which you may or may not have heard of. The actress Millie Bobby Brown started her own skincare and makeup line sometime in the last year or so. And I always wanted to give it a try just to see what it was about, but it was always sold out at Ulta, always. And the display was a wreck. It was like people had just grabbed everything and ran. It's like, where am I going to get this? So I found it online, of course, and I purchased an under eye balm as well as 2 of the concealers. This is called See You Never Concealer. It's a screw top, and then it's that metal kind of applicator that you squeeze and the product comes out in the middle. This was a surprise hit for me, and I think using it in conjunction, again, using in the same brand family, if they have an eye balm as well as a concealer, seems to work really well for me. And so with her, I think it's called Look Alive Eye Balm, and then topping it off with this, I get a really nice look. Since this is newer, I've got it in the rotation. It's coming in at a solid 4. We'll see if it becomes a holy grail at some point. Now, I promised that I was going to share with you my number 1 trick for getting a flawless looking under eye, and that is 2 things. That is finishing spray and a sponge with powder. What I like to do is take the finishing spray, spray a tiny bit in my palm, and then what I'm going to do is just tap that and tap that under the eyes. Not too wet, not too wet. You don't want to wash away your beautiful concealer. Set that, and then take a tiny bit of powder, whichever finishing powder you prefer. I always tap off on the hand, and then take that right underneath. Now, anytime you're going to set your concealer, don't forget, make sure it doesn't have any creases before you start. So if you need to smooth something out by the time you get to this step, be sure and do that. But then go in with these 2 steps, and your concealer is not going to move for the rest of the day. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope that was helpful to you. I sure enjoyed talking about it and sharing this with you in the hopes that it could be helpful if you're struggling to find a good concealer for your under eye. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. And if you'd like more of this type of content, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. So thank you, take care, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.